Previously on Research, Rank, Repeat.
I was thinking, and I was like, the reason most of the time me and Alyssa watched Super Bowls was for the halftime performances and for the commercials.
At a certain point, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, why don't we rank halftime shows? Because there's been a ton.
Certainly a ton.
We've seen a handful live. We've also not seen a ton of them.
Pre-drone aerial shots are hard.
Yeah.
There's some rough footage. Some of these early shows, camera work leaves a lot to be
I can't remember
desired.
which one it was, but there was a shot from the blimp and it kept getting like off.
I think it's the next show.
Yeah.
The next show had, I think, the worst camera work I've ever seen in my life.
And then in the most bizarre way I've ever seen, a blonde boy with a bowl cut comes out and sings "Wind Beneath My Wings." I put this at 27.
Okay.
Yeah,
I put it at 30, so...
Yeah, I definitely thought there were ones that were worse, and I think what saves this one is just having two really good singers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it works as a collaborative. Not necessarily I wouldn't look at NSYNC and Aerosmith and be like, yeah, that makes sense, but it weirdly worked. We are gonna do a little end to this episode and pick back up because we are nearing 3 hours of recording.
As per usual... Truly.
It was the best of times and the worst of times.
And it was the worst of times.
Now it's just the worst of times and the worst of times, so...
It truly is the worst of times and the worst of times.
Yeah.
You would be correct on that.
Speaking of not worst of times, though, 2005.
Yeah, so we're picking back up with the year of 2005, where after the scandal of a rogue breast being exposed, the NFL really cracked down.
They said, you know what? We're going to pick someone who has no breasts, and that is Paul McCartney. Man has no nipples.
He does have nipples. I'm pretty sure he has nipples.
He's like Kyle XY. He doesn't have nipples, but he has a belly button.
Okay.
2005, Paul McCartney. This one was in Jacksonville, Florida, everyone's favorite place. There was no theme, but the Super Bowl theme for that year was Building Bridges.
For the city of Jacksonville.
Yes.
Talking about bridges, like bridging communities and things like that. I didn't write that down, but I just wanted to note that.
So this one was produced by Don Michener Productions, who have done Olympic shows in the past.
There's no N in there, but I liked the way you pronounce his name.
Oh, sorry, Don Misher.
Yeah.
This one was sponsored by Ameriquest Mortgage.
Yeah. Ameriquest, your favorite company.
My favorite company.
I'm sure they would support DEI initiatives.
Yeah. Maybe we can get a sponsorship from them.
You know what we got, Hannah? We got Costco, we got Disney, we got John Deere, and Apple.
Arizona.
Ameriquest Mortgage.
Okay. This one had a runtime of 12 minutes and 30 seconds. So due to the controversy from previous year, the NFL wanted a safe choice. And when you want a safe choice, you pick Paul McCartney because it's Paul McCartney.
Yeah, they really said, what can we do that's the complete opposite of a super powerful, successful black woman leading the Super Bowl? We throw every white man dad rocker we can on that stage. And don't get me wrong, Hannah and I love a good dad rocker.
We do.
We grew up on that, so got a soft spot.
Yeah. Yeah. This kind of starts the trend of having multiple years of more rock artists. Not every single one, but a lot.
No, every year for the next several years will only be a rock artist.
I guess if you count Prince as like rock.
He's rock. Yeah.
Well, I guess he's kind of like that rock, like a little bit more
but
pop.
So did like the Beatles.
Yeah.
So did, you could
That's
make the
true.
Sega argument for a lot of these rock. That's the thing I think that people forget is rock was pop, like the popular music for a while. It was like what was popular. Yeah.
Okay. So
it's not right now, but
Oh, sorry. So the NFL producers, I'm assuming that's supposed to be producers. This says produces.
Producers, yeah.
Producers and sponsors selected Paul McCartney.
Yep.
This one was watched by 144.4 million people, and this was the first year the Puppy Bowl aired on Animal Planet, and that's, let's be honest, a lot of people just are excited for the Super Bowl for that Puppy Bowl.
Yeah, I thought that was a fun fact for all the animal lovers and Puppy Bowl lovers out there. That 2005.
Yeah.
This year was the 20th anniversary of the Puppy Bowl.
Love that.
Yeah.
So all the songs were just performed by Paul McCartney and his band. He ended up doing 4 songs. Started out with Drive My Car.
He did. I noticed that he was wearing a suit with red underneath it, and he's on the middle of an X-shaped stage.
Yeah. And I think as soon as I saw the next year's Super Bowl, I'm like, yeah, if you want to pick a safe person, Paul McCartney is the way to go. You kind of know what you're going to get from him.
Oh, yeah.
Great singer. I
mean, he's a legendary musician.
Yeah. Yeah, for people who don't know, he was a part of the Beatles, and then went on to do his own solo work. I would just describe this Super Bowl halftime show as very, wholesome. Very... Couldn't be any different from the previous one.
It couldn't be any safer than what we got. I mean, he does nothing provocative.
No, I mean...
does not remove his shirt.
And I feel like Paul McCartney is one of those people you're going to get who's... They're a performer, but not necessarily in the sense of, not going to do a ton of stuff on stage. Kind of just performer in the sense of commanding the stage and just being a great musician, singer. I would still like to note that as of now, I do not remember seeing any of these live.
Okay. I was going to ask you at what point you remember, and I assume it's somewhere in here at some point. So a lot of these I, remember, but not... I couldn't tell you this happened, but I'm like, oh, I remember Paul McCartney playing at the Super Bowl.
You're gonna have to wait a while.
That's fine.
Yep. Just a heads up.
That's fine. I mean, that's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, so again, we get crowd surrounding the stage. There is a crowd. I said he sounds good, but I wasn't sure if it was pre-recorded or not.
It was hard to
tell.
Because he's obviously not. He's not really moving around the stage a lot, so it'd be hard to tell because it sounded clear, but also he wasn't really moving, so that would make sense.
And he's on the guitar for the first 2 songs. Drive My Car and then Get Back. And then I noted that one of the guitar players looked like Keith Urban a little bit. He had a very Keith Urban look. And I was like, I doubt Keith Urban is playing with Paul McCartney in 2005.
Probably not at a time when Keith Urban was popular on his own.
And then, he goes and he takes off his jacket, scandalous, removes his jacket, and gets on the piano. Because, of course, he also is a very talented musician, piano player. And they love shooting off a good firework at the Super Bowl, so they shoot off some fireworks. Right. And then one thing I wanted to note, and Hannah knows this because we saw him live, but I noted that Paul McCartney is a lot like Billy Joel as an older performer, where in that he is entertaining without needing to be flashy. He just plays and it's a good time. We saw Billy Joel, I think 3 years ago now. And when he was 80, late 70s?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
I would also me and JT saw James Taylor live, and he's similar. He just kind of sits and plays music, and that's entertaining. Yeah, that's what he does.
It was entertaining. It was solid. Yeah.
I would like to say that we get a little bit of a crossover because he plays Live and Let Die. Shout out to our James Bond episode.
Our James Bond episode. I feel like I ranked that one high, but I genuinely... I couldn't tell you a single thing about how that episode went because I've never listened to it.
I feel like that one or Skyfall would have had to have been top for me.
But if I had to guess which ones I put near the top, of the James Bond songs I've heard, this is one of them. Yeah. This is one of 4 I could say I probably heard.
So he does that. He also does Hey Jude and he gets the crowd into it. Yeah. I love a good crowd sing.
I noted that the camera work was a lot better this year. Yes. And that I liked that you couldn't hear the audience until they specifically changed it to where you could hear them during Hey Jude, which I feel like is a very well-known song, that it was effective to do that. And then I noted that he did a real Oprah maneuver with the "You're great, you were great, you were great, you're all great." It's solid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have complaints about this one. I think coming off of the previous year, it's this one's a lot calmer, which is what they were going for. I mean, Paul McCartney, obviously a very good artist. Yeah. don't have a big
I guess the way I put it is, it was not my favorite, but it was not bad.
Yeah, I think it's
average show. Yeah,
right.
But that's what they wanted. So I mean, it's
for what they wanted it for. I think it worked, and I ranked it as number 21.
I ranked it as number 22. I thought that might be controversial to put it that low, but I was like, the way I looked at it is I compared it to the other rock groups.
Yes.
And I then decided what I thought, which ones were better than others. Just on personal preference and like show and stuff. So it seemed appropriate to go around that area. So glad we're on the same page.
Yeah. I would agree. Comparing a lot of these rock artists, I end up comparing to each other.
Yeah.
With the exception of like U2, because that one's a bit more like the moment.
Yeah, that was a very kind of specific show that is hard to compare to other things.
Yeah.
I agree.
But yeah, I thought it was solid.
It was solid. Yeah. And then we move on to our next group in 2006, which is the Rolling Stones. Now, this Super Bowl took place in Detroit, Michigan. And I don't know about you, Hannah, but I have such a vivid memory of this Super Bowl being held in Detroit.
Well, I remember like going to the experience.
Yeah. So our family, they hosted in Detroit. I don't know if they do it at every Super Bowl or if they just specifically.
I think they do some variation.
But it was called NFL Experience, and essentially you went to, it was at the Cobo, the Rensen, right?
It's like a conference center.
Yeah, like a big conference center. They do the auto show, or they used to do the auto show there every year. But you would go and you had like interactive events that were hosted by members of, I think it was the NFL and maybe ESPN were hosting that, and you could do like catching footballs and kicking and blocking. Like you had to run through do the training drills. There was one I remember where they tied you up and you had to run, and basically you were pulling against each other. And so you'd be matched off. Hannah and I were matched off against each other, and we both fell because I think we were roughly the same size.
We were like the same weight, so we just canceled
each other out, and just both flew back. And I think we got some stuff signed by some NFL players.
Yeah, they did like they gave you like these mini footballs, and they had former like players sign them, players from the teams that were playing that year.
And I know we have.
So yeah, it was like a cool experience.
And I know we have photos of us, like you could put yourself in like football players out, like their body. Basically, like you put your head by their body,
like one of the cutout photo things.
But it was like they're like, it was like a figure and not necessarily cut out. But I remember like it was very fun. It was really fun. I feel like a good. It was a fun experience. It was a fun thing to do. A fun NFL experience, if you want.
Yeah, and it was free. It was like a free event for. That I'm pretty sure that's what Mom told me once.
I'm surprised that was free.
Yeah,
because I feel like it was fun. It was.
I know. I think it was free for people to go to. I mean, at that time too, you have to think about.
It's true. It was
Detroit.
That's
like
true.
The Lions at that time.
I think it's hard now because Detroit is such a different city than it was.
Right, but at the time,
like when we were kids, we really only ever went into Detroit to go to sporting events, and that's it. Like we didn't go to restaurants downtown. Right. We didn't go to like events as like that young. A little bit older, and we'd start going to more stuff. But yeah, you like only went for sports, and that's it.
And I remember it being like busy, but it wasn't like it was packed or anything. Like, yeah, so I think I don't know if it still is, but I'm pretty sure at the time it was like a free thing you could do.
It was fun. I thought that was a great fun thing, and I have a very fun memory of that and like them hosting the Super Bowl. But yeah, so I'll note it eventually, but I stopped listing the theme of the show because they stopped having themes since it was primarily just like one artist or like a group that was like a specific theme. So I stopped listing that, and what I did instead is I start listing the producer and the sponsor separately because there's always then going to be a producer and a sponsor. So just a note change for something that I did along the way. It was produced by Don Meisher Productions, or Meisher, I don't know how we're pronouncing that. And this time the sponsor was Sprint Nextel. Sprint. The runtime of the show was 13 minutes and 15 seconds. Now, I got a little bit of extra facts for this one just because it was hosted in Detroit, which is near where we grew up, and we still live in Michigan, so still go to Detroit. We gotta represent. Detroit was selected as the host city for the Super Bowl 40, I believe is what the XL is. Because X is 10 and L is 50, so 40. Yeah. Super Bowl 40 without contention, as they were being, quote, rewarded for building a new stadium. And I put in parentheses, the taxpayers built the new stadium. And it was not multiple cities being voted on, as was the standard. They were told that they would get to host a Super Bowl back in 1996 as long as they built a new stadium. As we mentioned earlier, the Lions previously had played at the Silver Dome, which was located in Pontiac, Michigan. And they, around like early 2000s, they built Ford Field, which is directly in downtown Detroit, a new stadium. And that was the reward. They said, you give us a new stadium and you can have a Super Bowl. So that happened. And they said, great, here you go. Hand it to them on a silver platter. There was no, like, usually a lot of years they have a couple cities that have a bid and they pick one. And then some cities, like, will get it the next couple of years. Like, it's not like you're cut off forever. But concerns for hosting included, and I put in quotes, extreme frigid temperatures and traffic jams, the idea of using a casino as a hotel to promote gambling, and a, quote, long-standing reputation of urban decay, and crime. Those were the concerns about hosting the Super Bowl in the city. So, we love that.
Yep.
ABC broadcast the Super Bowl, and this was just a fun fact for Hannah, that following the game, they aired the episode of Grey's Anatomy titled, It's the End of the World. You know what episode that is, Hannah?
I saw your note, and I am raising you a note.
Okay.
Alyssa has seen the second part of this episode.
I have.
A clip of it, because that's when, spoiler, Kyle Chandler, a.k.a. Dylan the Bomb Guy, explodes.
It was funny because when I saw this title, I was like, I wonder if I know what episode this is. And I looked it up and I saw guest Kyle Chandler, and I was like, oh, I know immediately what episode it is. I know.
And a fun fact for you, Alyssa, this episode, the one that you referred to, the part 1, was viewed by 38.1 million viewers, which made it, and still makes it, the most watched episode in series history, presumably because it aired directly after the Super Bowl and still had, well, they say, like, you know, a lot of people keep their TVs on, right? Because you're having a Super Bowl party or whatever, so it's like, did that many people actually watch it, or...
Yeah.
You know.
I noticed, this isn't something that I really wrote down because I didn't feel like I needed to include it, but they mentioned that a lot of shows that were slotted directly after the Super Bowl saw, like, immense, like, increases, and they often premiere pilots. Sometimes they'd premiere a new show directly after the Super Bowl. Like, I think the first episode of Family Guy premiered after a Super Bowl. Like, they tended to do that. I just didn't note a lot of them just because I felt like it wasn't needed. But this one I thought was special just because, 1, we did an episode about Grey's Anatomy. Yeah. And 2, this is the episode where Kyle Chandler blows up. So, which is a very... It's
the part 1.
Part 1.
So it's not
but
actually the
episode,
it's
part of that saga, which I find to be a entertaining part of the show. Having been that I've only seen a few episodes and things here and there. The show itself was viewed by 89.9 million people, which was a pretty big drop from the previous year with Paul McCartney. And the stage that was used for the Rolling Stones performance was the largest stage ever assembled for a halftime show, as it required 600 volunteer stage crew to put it together. We'll get to it, but their stage was their logo, which is why it was such a large, intensive stage to put together. All right, now we're going to go over a few controversies that occurred during this show. Detroiters, specifically, were upset that no Michigan-based music groups or musicians were chosen for the halftime show, given the city's history of Motown and other influential artists. Now, if you remember, Hannah and viewers, from our last episode, there was a halftime show that was specifically focused on the history of Motown. It just didn't happen in Detroit, but the Super Bowl has had a Motown show prior to this year. Stevie Wonder and the Four Tops performed in the pregame ceremony at the event, and Aretha Franklin performed the national anthem, who is a local of Detroit and a Motown legend. Are you thinking Aretha Franklin?
I am thinking Aretha Franklin.
Hannah and I were at a family member's house this was 8 years ago or something?
A while ago, yeah.
And we were sitting around a campfire, and one of our relatives said, was trying to talk about Aretha Franklin and said Aretha Franklin, and Hannah and I were the only people who had any sort of reaction and maybe noticed that, and we were trying so hard not to laugh, because again, it's one of those things where it's like, if no one acknowledges it, then you're just kind of like, what the fuck is happening? So we would just keep laughing about it, and then every so often, I'll just Hannah will text me, or I'll text Hannah, I'll just say Aretha Franklin when I think about it, and it always makes me laugh every time. Because it's what a great word flub. It's iconic. But anyway, so she performed the national anthem, and so this allowed for some Detroit music legends to be involved in the Super Bowl, if not the halftime show. So that was kind of seen as like here you go, take this. The NFL took issue with some of the language used in the Rolling Stones lyrics of mainly Start Me Up and the song Rough Justice, which was a newer song that was coming out on a new album, or it just come out. And we're concerned that Mick Jagger might ad-lib explicitly, and I put that in quotes because that was a direct quote. It went so far that they threatened to cancel the band days before the performance and find a last-minute replacement. And I said in parentheses, which, I mean, they knew what band they booked. Like, they knew who they were getting. So I don't know why.
Like they were, like, extra on guard because of the previous year.
I guess, but I'm like, don't book them then. If you're concerned about them.
Or not the previous year, sorry. The 2 years before.
2004. But I'm like, then don't book the Rolling Stones.
Right.
You know what the Rolling Stones are like. Like, you know what type of band they are. So ultimately, what they did is they put a 5-second delay on the airing of the event and censored some lyrics by turning off Mick Jagger's microphone to try to prevent anything from happening, any expletives or, lyrics they found unsavory. They also wanted to, the Rolling Stones being wanted to perform material from their new album, but the NFL only wanted them to play their well-known hits, which I think that's annoying that they're like, no, you can only play the songs we know you for. So they agreed on them allowing them to play one new song. So Rough Justice was that new song. All right. And they only performed 3 songs, which I think is probably the shortest, modern amount of songs. But I mean, to be fair, I Can't Get No Satisfaction is an incredibly long song, and they played it like as is. I think it's like a 6-minute song or something.
Yeah, I mean, that was U2 also did 3 songs, and they kind of did similar where they just performed the 3 songs, like not a mashup or shorter segment.
Yeah, so my first note is that I like vividly, like, I don't have a strong memory of the actual performance itself, but I remember the stage. Like, I remember that big open mouth tongue stage, Rolling Stones logo. That's their logo, right? Not Aerosmith. The mouth.
No, the mouth is Rolling Stones.
I don't know why in my mind I was like, am I confusing Aerosmith and Rolling Stones right now? But no, yeah, the mouth stage. I like that's like what I remember most about their performance. I don't really necessarily remember them performing. Again, we didn't really listen to the Rolling Stones like collectively.
I mean, we knew like the big
songs. But like they weren't like, our dad wasn't playing the Rolling Stones, like he didn't have CDs of them, in the sense of like we were listening to them a lot. Like some of the artists coming up, we listened to a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, again, like obviously a very well-known band, similar to like Paul McCartney. Like I think in this you can tell that I still think Mick Jagger sounded good.
I thought the fact that he was moving, like moves like he was really doing those moves like Jagger still, like he was going. Yeah, he was
like a lot of
work.
I've noticed a lot of like the older artist groups that come on, they tend to just like not move a ton, with an exception of an artist coming up who just was like went insane. Yeah, and I thought he like sounded pretty decent.
I said so. My one note was I thought the audio mixing was a little bit rough in the beginning. Like they needed to boost his mic a little bit, and I think they eventually do. But like right at the beginning, it was a little rough. And I noted that you can definitely tell he's performing live. Like it definitely sounded like it. I also really liked that the stage, the part of the tongue was like a sheet that pulled away and revealed a more audience like inside the stage. And I thought that was really cool.
That was cool.
I thought that was a fun reveal. I noted that their outfits are black and sparkly, and some of the band members were wearing green and purple t-shirts. So, like, the one thing I noticed when watching this performance is that Paul McCartney didn't really, like, interact with the audience at all. He kind of just performed.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Mick Jagger specifically was, like, talking to the audience.
Right.
For part of it. And I thought that was nice, because I feel like it's nice to, like, address, the Super Bowl.
Yeah, to address the crowd,
a bit more. I thought the camera work was good. So we start with "Start Me Up," which is a Rolling Stones, classic, well-known hit. And then we go into "Rough Justice," which was a newer song. And then we finish off with "I Can't Get No Satisfaction," which before he started, I noted that I think this is the first performance where I've seen an artist get a drink of water, like, during the show. Yeah. Like, he went and got a bottle of water and took his jacket off, and I was like, oh, you know what, great. You know, I'm glad he's staying hydrated, but I just thought it was, like, funny where I'm like, oh, I actually don't think I've seen an artist get a drink of water, because probably they're doing it in switching or off stage or whatever. Yeah. I thought his, like, you know, dancing his little crop top, you know, he was having a good time. I'm sure he was probably, pushing 60?
Yeah.
During the show, something like that. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're definitely talented. They're not, I wouldn't say they're, like, one of my artists I listen to that often.
I would agree.
But I would classify it again as just, like, an average performance. Yeah. I think, you know, entertaining. I was a little bit surprised that, I guess not every city, but I know, like, Miami, they did Gloria Estefan got to go again. Yeah. So, like, I don't know. It's a little bit surprising, especially with how many artists are from Detroit. Yeah. Like, even, I was thinking, like, even Eminem was big at that time. Like, it is surprising to have.
I'm just going to say, especially right now, given the Janet Jackson stuff, there's no way they put Eminem on that stage. They would have never.
I understand
but that. I guess the way I think about it is there's actually been a lot, or in the future and up to now, there's been a lot of Detroit artists who have performed.
No, I noted that later on, but I do find it interesting.
Kid Rock had just performed. Stevie Wonder had performed. They had the whole Motown show,
right? And I wonder too if because they had so many Motown groups already, they didn't want to do like
I was wondering if that was probably part of it, and they had this whole rock thing going on. And I don't. The only rock artist that I think is from Michigan is Ted Nugent.
Jack White.
Oh, and Jack White, I feel like he wasn't as known at the time.
Well, yeah, but he is
yes, he is an artist from Detroit. I was trying to think of like those bigger rock groups, you know, that are like considered that the NFL would have picked, I guess is the way I should phrase that at the time. But yeah, it was fun.
I ranked it 25. 25th.
I put it as 18. I enjoyed it more than the Paul McCartney one because I thought it was nice to see a band like putting in the work. Like I felt like they really were putting on a show. And even though
I think I enjoyed Paul McCartney more, which is why I put it opposite basically.
All right.
Okay.
Then we move on.
So
2007.
Then we move on to 2007. We get Prince.
Prince
also has the Florida A&M University Marching Band.
It's a 100 marching 100 band.
Marching 100 band. Yeah. And then New Power Generation, which is Prince's backing band. This one was in Miami Gardens, Florida. We have had so many Florida Super Bowls.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's because weather. Like, they want it to be in warmer weather.
It makes sense.
And Florida does have a really high proportion of football stadiums, especially when they used to do college as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that's just a commonplace.
Like Alyssa said last time, she noted that themes will no longer exist because they stopped doing them. Again, produced by Don Misher Productions, White Cherry Entertainment, sponsored by Pepsi.
Yeah.
And Pepsi will be around for a minute.
Pepsi will be around. Yeah, they'll be sponsoring for a while.
Yeah. So this one has a runtime of 12 minutes, 10 seconds. Prince previously did not want to perform at the Super Bowl. He did express interest in 2006. And was visited by executives and performed with 3 members of his backing band and was given the show. Mm-hmm. Prince had requested that the Florida A&M University Marching Band be in the show. Their inclusion was kept a secret. Mm-hmm. Most of the rehearsals were done in Las Vegas, where Prince had a residency. Only one rehearsal was done at the actual stadium.
Which is actually, I thought that was crazy. Like, yeah. I think, you know, like, you can rehearse, but, like, trying to put on a production in a place you're unfamiliar with or a setup that's very different from what you're rehearsing on is definitely, like, for instance, when we did dance recitals, you would be in a room, you know, and you try to space it out like you're on a stage, and so at a certain point, what they would do is they'd put paper all along the mirrors so you can't see yourself, so that way you have to perform like you're performing in front of an audience, because some people tend to rely on the fact that they can see themselves dancing, and like in terms of like, because you in spacing, like you can't reference a mirror on a stage, you know, to see where you're supposed to be. and like get your marks and stuff. So I can't imagine how difficult that was.
Yeah.
Just from that
I
perspective.
think of it, well, I guess similar to like a lot of those artists when they tour, you're just in different cities every time.
Yeah.
And so I know you have your stage set up and stuff like that, but I imagine they get a little bit used to kind of performing in new environments.
But mainly it's just like they didn't even have the stage like in Vegas.
Right.
They were using.
They might have had like a setup of it,
right,
like a variation.
But at least with like when you're touring, you have the same stage like everywhere you go.
Okay, so there was a pre-press conference that's held with the halftime show and national anthem performers.
And this usually happens every year. So I'm just saying that there's usually a press conference held with the halftime and the national anthem performer.
Right.
Yeah.
So for this time, it was Billy Joel who did the national anthem. So usually they hold it to ask questions, but Prince just said, "I'm just going to perform a concert instead. I don't want to answer questions."
No questions, just performed.
I love that. So volunteers helped set up, disassemble the stage for the show. They accidentally ran over a power cable, which severed the cord. And a member of the lighting crew had to hold the severed end together in place for the entire show. Alyssa said that's a true hero.
I was like, are you kidding me?
Is that not somewhat dangerous?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was also, there was a thunderstorm and rain going on during the show. I don't know why they couldn't have just gotten electrical tape and like taped that together, but yeah, someone just held a cord the entire show because they accidentally severed it, ran it over. But, true hero.
So it was the first instance of rain during a Super Bowl halftime show. You can notice it a lot more during the performance of Purple Rain, which is fitting. And there were concerns of hazards due to having electric guitars, a slippery stage, and Prince and his dancers in high heel shoes, which the whole time I was like waiting for someone to fall because those dancers had really high heels on. And Prince allegedly asked if they could make it rain harder.
Yeah. He's feeling it.
So this one has a very positive reception. It is considered by many to be one of the best halftime show performances. I was familiar with this halftime show. I didn't remember seeing it live, but I know of it just because of how much you hear about it.
I do remember seeing it. Like, I didn't remember all of it, but I did remember seeing it. But I've also just seen this outside of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a little controversy because, we have to have some. Over 150 people complained to the FCC that the silhouette of Prince with his guitar on a screen was phallic in placement. There was a part where they had like the sheet thing over him, and well, not lie, it did look a little bit like a dick, but
I'm sure it was intentional. But the fact that over 150 people complained, which if you remember, over almost 500,000 people complained about Janet Jackson. So just to put that in perspective,
And then people also complained about a Snickers commercial with two men kissing because homophobia.
Yeah. And also, again, that was in total 150 people were like, two men kissing. Collectively, that was the complaints.
Okay, so this one starts out, We Will Rock You. Yeah. It's an opening. Prince is not actually performing, but it's like the opening part of it.
It's like leading into it.
Right.
But then we get... Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today.
Yeah.
Into Let's Go Crazy.
Yeah, we get Let's Go Crazy, and, starting off, the energy's good. Prince is obviously a very good performer.
I said that I loved that his stage was his symbol, like his Prince and I think was it during his Prince and the Revolution, or the artist formerly known as Prince. I don't know which era the symbol came about, but it's like a pretty iconic purple symbol. He also is in a teal/turquoise suit. He's wearing a black hair wrap, an orange shirt, and he's wearing heels. And he looks excellent. Excellent taste in fashion.
Yeah.
Very stood out.
Yeah, so he's doing Let's Go Crazy, and then the Florida Marching Band comes and does kind of 3 songs. They do Baby, I'm a Star, 1999, and Proud Mary. One of the things I thought or noted was that sometimes when the marching bands are performing with artists, it just kind of seems like they're just there.
Yeah, and not like actually
and I felt like this,
performing.
Right, and I felt like this one really worked. Like, I thought the inclusion of the marching band really added a lot to the performance.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was really cool that they were able to make it work in a way that they did.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to add that note about Prince specifically requesting the marching band, because it's clear like he had ideas to include it in the show, like vision. Specifically vision. Yeah, and I definitely think that was Something that I feel like they come up every few years, but I like the kind of callback to the history of the halftime show because it was started with marching bands. So I like that a lot of these artists include that element to kind of like call back to the like historical shows and like history of the shows. I liked also that there was a like kind of a smaller audience by the stage this time because they had all the marching bands and stuff, so they can't like have a huge audience. But I like that there's like a little bit of a smaller one.
Yeah.
And then he changes his guitar. You know.
Yeah.
We changed to a blue guitar, so he has 3 guitars in this set. I thought it was also interesting that Prince did almost more covers of other artists than he did his own music. And I thought that was an interesting choice. I don't dislike it. I just was like, I wonder, like, why specifically he was, you know, like, Proud Mary, All Along the Watchtower, and Best of You are all not his song.
Right.
They're all covers of, like, Foo Fighters, Jimi Hendrix, and would CCR do Proud Mary first, or Tina?
I think it was CCR,
okay. and then Tina did the cover? Okay.
Yep.
But it, like, you know, like, did iconic like songs but did covers of them, and I thought like it's kind of like maybe like a nice nod to other influential artists almost like that I mean because I know Prince like had a lot of respect clearly for a lot of other artists and you know, so maybe it was something with that.
And also too when you're like an artist like that, I feel like that's probably a pretty what's the word like a why can't I speak?
I don't know.
Like for the Foo Fighters, like I feel like that's a moment where they're like, oh, like someone like Prince is covering our song. Like it feels like a moment of like respect.
Yeah, recognition. Just like recognition.
I don't know why I can't think of like when Luke Combs did Tracy Chapman's cover. Like, it feels like it's paying homage, and like homage, and being like respectful of obviously their song. I can't speak. I'm done.
That's okay. It's nice to see him do covers of other artists. I think it also specifically for this type of like show for a Super Bowl.
On like a national
because
stage.
like I feel like artists commonly will do covers in concert. That's very common that artists do covers of artists would do covers of other artists' songs. But it doesn't really happen at the Super Bowl. Like I was trying to think of any other time that happened, and I can't think of anything up to this point.
And I think too I feel like it says a lot about Prince as like a person because he could have just taken that time to be like, oh, I'm just going to promote all my own songs, but he took the time out of his own set, like on a national stage, to be like, I'm going to pay respect to these other artists. So I think that's cool. Yep.
And I've always had a soft spot for Prince. One of my dances was to a Prince song. It's called Chelsea Rogers, which is not a well-known Prince song, but it was one of my favorite dances I did was that dance. So I was wearing a orange sparkly dress. It was a lot of fun. But then we get to the big moment where the rain starts coming down. Yep. And you can see it on the camera lenses. Like, there are clearly raindrops there. Prince gets given his iconic purple guitar with his symbol on it, and takes off his hair wrap, takes his mic off the stand. The marching band gets lit up, and he goes and says, "Can I play this guitar?" Performing Purple Rain, and the sheet comes down, and he pulls out his dick.
Pulls out his dick.
Pulls out that guitar. And it is like... That man had stage presence. My God.
Yeah, and in Purple Rain, I don't think it's controversial to say, like, Purple Rain is considered one of the better songs of, like...
I mean, ever?
Of all time.
Like, that album, what, like, that one has, like, When Doves Cry on it as well.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's
I think, like, I had, like, full body chills.
Oh my God.
I think having the rain falling, it just happened to be falling, just made the moment that much greater. I don't know if you've ever seen the YouTube video of the Goo Goo Dolls singing Iris, and it's, like, a full-on downpour.
I have, yeah.
Okay,
and it's
just, like, this huge music festival, and they told them, like, maybe you guys shouldn't perform because you're going to destroy your guitars and amps and all this stuff, and they're like, fuck it, we're going to do it. And it's, like, a really cool performance.
Yeah.
I mean, stage presence, like... I don't know, seeing a performance like that on a stage like that,
Makes me wish I would have seen Prince live.
Yeah. Could have seen Prince live. Again, like, I understand why this is considered one of the greatest halftime shows.
Yeah.
It just, everything about it worked for me.
Have you ever seen, so there's a video where they're inducting, I think it's George Harrison, into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame after he's died. And they basically just had a bunch of musicians playing for Teardrops on My Guitar. I think the story was, like, Prince, like, didn't want to rehearse at all. He just kind of showed up and played, like, a solo. And it's, like, an incredibly well-done solo, and then just is like, all right. I showed up for this one song just to play, because he's, like, an incredibly talented guitarist, and then leaves, and it's like, all right. Great.
Wait. I was just so confused the whole time because you said when he plays Teardrops on My Guitar, isn't that
oh my god, sorry. When my guitar gently weeps. The Beatles song.
Oh, okay.
When my guitar gently. Yeah, it is. I got. There's
you
the
said
same
that,
theme.
and I was like, wait.
I'm sorry. It's the same theme. Have you seen that video?
I don't think I've seen that specific video. No.
All right, I'll send it to you just so you can.
Okay.
For later.
I will check.
I'll send it in the chat one minute. Yeah, he was not singing Taylor Swift. It was my.
I was like, I don't think.
While my guitar gently weeps. The second when I went on YouTube, the second search says, "Well, my guitar gently weeps Prince." So it's clearly. Yeah, yes. He's playing with. Just for give you context, he's playing with Tom Petty, Steve Winwood. I think George Harrison's son is playing as well. But yeah, I mean, it's like, it's Prince.
Yeah,
I mean, he's incredible. He's got the stage presence. It's not shocking why this is considered a lot of people's favorite halftime show. I've seen it before. I've seen it outside of the Super Bowl. I remember watching it, but not like super specifics of like that show, but I definitely remember seeing it and people liking it. Which what's not to like?
Yeah.
I feel like The Rain also, The Rain also added like it propelled it. Like, it was good, and then it just, like, ascended.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate he has since passed. Unfortunately, a lot of these artists,
Quite a few of these artists have. And not just because of age, but for most of them.
Yeah, so unfortunately. But yeah.
Or maybe a mix of age and other things, but yeah.
Where is this one in your ranking?
We'll come back to it.
Yeah, this one is also in my top 7.
Yeah.
So when we get to the end, we will revisit...
we will be back.
Get to our top 7. We'll come back
in a little bit.
Alrighty. So now we get to 2008, which is another fun one of the artist Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, which is the other album I actually own. Here it is. Look at it. I have the greatest hits compilations, 4 discs. Look at them in all their glory. Clearly we like Tom Petty in this household. Yes. I don't know I can't remember if we've talked about it on the podcast before, but we were considering going to see Tom Petty live the year he died, which was really upsetting. But we did do is we saw a Tom Petty cover band, which was actually really fun. I had a really fun time. We were by far the youngest people there, but it was very fun. Our dad, when we were like, we're going to this concert, he's like, oh, is it at this venue? And we're like, yes. It's like, oh, I went there when I was 20, like, had gone there. And I'm like, okay, I see what crowd we're getting into.
Yes.
But yeah, so Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers was the band that performed in Glendale, Arizona. So this was again produced by Don Masher Productions and White Cherry Entertainment. And this year it was sponsored by Bridgestone.
Bridgestone tires.
Bridgestone tires. The runtime was 12 minutes and 25 seconds. So... something that came up when I was doing the background on this year was that the NFL had created a potential wish list of halftime performance of artists that they wanted to perform at the show for these kind of rock-oriented groups, such as Bruce Springsteen, who will be performing next year. Next year as in like 2009. The Eagles, who were offered the show in 2008 but declined. Norah Jones, who... did not perform. There was no notion if she had declined or if just like they never offered it to her. And Tom Petty, who's performing this year. It's noted that Bon Jovi also had expressed interest in performing the Super Bowl, but clearly did not. So I'm not sure. There wasn't really information about what happened with that. And the band used the Super Bowl to kick off their 2008 World Tour, as they were just about to go on tour. They also had recently had, Hannah and I watched, I think you watched the documentary, the Tom Petty, like 3-hour long documentary. That had just come out shortly, like the year before this. Oh yeah, I noted that after this. Oops. So I thought I hadn't written that down. But, so I found an article from the Gainesville Sun, which is a, news group out of Gainesville, I would have to imagine, which is, I believe, where Tom Petty's from, in Florida. And this article was released on December 3rd, 2007. Just a side note, I wanted to note that Google search function for articles is terrible now. Like, because I remember using it for school. I had to go through so many hoops and set so many parameters just to find an article released in 2007 about this event. Like, I would type it in and it'd give me stuff from, like, 2023. Like, and I'm like, literally, I'm giving you exactly what I want. Like, I'm putting in the year. So Google, get your shit together. Make our lives easier. Maybe make students' lives easier too. If it's as bad as it was for me just to find something on our free time, I can't imagine what it's like to try to do research articles, write stuff for a paper. Quotes from this article. Quote, instead of being a trendy flavor of the week pop act, Petty and group have the cachet of being somewhat edgy yet wildly popular, end quote. The other thing that they mentioned was the 3-hour documentary, Running Down a Dream, had released in 2007, so the band already had the modern attention, so like a previous rock band that was like in the modern circuit because of that.
Yeah.
All right. And then we get to the show. What I liked that it was, the stage was like a heartbeat. Yeah. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. And so I liked that it was like a heart with a guitar through it. For their symbol, for their stage. Again, I kind of like this theme of bands using their like logos as their stage. I thought that was
it's fun.
That's cool. Fun stuff. And they started off with arguably my favorite Tom Petty song, "American Girl."
Yeah. Fun fact: me and Alyssa, before we did this podcast, we've talked about we used to rank music. Mm-hmm. We did do a Tom Petty list.
We did.
I think, again, similar to how I felt about, like, the Rolling Stones, like, one thing I appreciate about Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers is they're just such, like, a clean band.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell that they're very polished, that they are used to performing. Mm-hmm. And just seeing this really made me wish I could have seen them live. And I was like, damn it.
In this, what I like, they're not running around stage. They're not, like, going crazy. But you can tell that they love what they do. Yeah. That they're having fun. And almost like they're, like, happy to be, like, recognized in that way. You know? Because I feel like they didn't do a lot of, like, big shows like that.
No, and I think they relied on really good just like musicianship and good songs. Yeah.
Which like every song they played is a banger.
Yeah, because they do American Girl, and then they go into I Won't Back Down, another huge song. Free Fallin', and then end on Running Down a Dream. So 4 songs total. Yeah. Yeah, I think again, like, just really enjoyed the performance. Yeah. I think this one is definitely not as showy as a lot of them we've seen. And I think maybe in some sense it might not be like everyone's favorite, but I'm blinded by nostalgia and blinded by bias.
I said the exact same thing. I was like, basically, I think that this works because even though they're not a high energy band, because they are performing, also because we love Tom Petty. So I also said I really liked how like the crowd was really loud in this because it showed like people were like amped to be. I can't believe I just used the word amped in 2025. Pumped to be there. I also wanted to note that Tom Petty is wearing black. He's wearing polka dots and a yellow necktie. He's really got the real rocker look going on. I would say of the 80s rocker look. Which, you know, and his very long straight hair, you know. He's really rocking the me in elementary school look going on, which I can respect.
I kind of respect that Tom Petty just like
he had one style and he just was
kept his style even in like the 2000s.
Yeah, he was just like I'm
just gonna do this.
Yeah, why not? It works.
Yeah.
We had a guitar change when they went into Free Falling. And there was like a weird cyclone image like on the stage that I wasn't entirely sure if it was because they were in, like, Florida. No, they're not in Florida. They're in Arizona.
Well, they're
'Cause
in
he's
Arizona,
from
but
Florida?
they're from Florida. They, like, started their band in Florida, so
Yeah.
I also didn't know if it was for that. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something they do at their
Yeah,
shows. I'm
again,
not
we
sure.
wouldn't know because we hadn't.
We wouldn't know
we
because
wouldn't know because we didn't see him.
We
That
didn't go
was
when he died.
So I, like, still can't get over how we were, like, we were talking about it. We're like,
Yeah,
Tom
we
Petty's
were.
on tour. It would be really fun to see him. Like, it's a little expensive, but I think it would be really fun. And then
Yeah.
he died. And we
Yeah.
were like, well, there goes that dream. We were truly running down a dream.
And he also died around the time that seemingly a ton of people died.
Yeah, it was 2017.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like,
it
I'm
was
pretty sure it was the same
2017.
year like Alan Rickman died and like
David
around the same
Bowie,
year.
I think,
Yeah,
right?
there
Was
was
it
a
that
lot
year?
of people that died like right within a couple
It's
months
definitely
of each other.
2017 because I
Yeah.
was doing field work.
Yep.
And I had graduated college, so.
Yeah, I was still in college, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So yeah, you know, I can recognize that I think this is a pretty like average when it comes to performances, but again, like I just love Tom Petty.
Yeah, I love Tom Petty. I basically said I'm somewhat biased because it's Tom Petty, but it is a solid show, not much to say. Like,
Yeah. Where did you rank it?
again, I love Tom Petty. I put him in number 8. I love Tom
Okay.
Petty.
See,
I put him at 8.
I think I went opposite, and I said I don't want to come off as too biased, so I put it at 18.
Oh, no, I did 8.
Because
I was like, I
okay.
don't give a I almost thought about putting him in the top 7, but I couldn't justify it. Like, I kept,
Okay.
when I had my, like, I got to top 10, and I was trying
Mm-hmm.
to work out who I thought should go in my top 7, and I was like, I can't put him there. Like, I can't justify it, but I was like, 8, it works.
Yeah,
It'll work.
I kind of had to base it off of, since I didn't want to be like too biased, I tried to base it off of like the other rock
Yeah.
artists, like the people who were, and I thought it was better than Paul McCartney and Rolling Stones, and then I like had another artist who I was like, oh, maybe this one's a little
Yeah.
bit better, so I kind of just ended up putting it there, but I could have definitely gone up higher.
Do you put Tom Petty lower than I put the country music act?
That's crazy. Well,
I think
I
yeah.
felt like this list was going to end up being...
Oh, yeah.
I figured we'd have some similar in the top 7, but I felt like it was going to be kind of all over the place.
There was a part where I had a really hard time in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, because I was pretty confident in my top, and I was very confident in the bottom. But when we got to the middle,
There was a lot of good...
I had a
average
really
acts.
hard time, like, trying to figure out where to put things, because it's like,
Well-
I had watched shows so far apart that I was trying to
Right.
figure out if I, like, which one I liked more. It was hard.
And it's hard
Yeah.
when you get up into ranking over 30 things, it gets hard in the middle.
And I think, I'm going to be honest, I think some shows I didn't place appropriately, if I'm going to be completely honest.
I would agree.
I think there's going to be a few as we get further along that I'm going to look at and be like,
Why did I do that?
Maybe
Yeah.
this wasn't right. But we'll get to those. But yeah, so yeah, bias. That's Tom Petty. I mean, he's right there.
Okay, and then we get into 2009, which again, another rock group artist. We get Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band.
The Boss.
The Boss. Also had the Miami Horns and a gospel choir, which Alyssa could not find specifics of who or where they were from.
Yeah, because usually they include information if it's like a local city choir
Right.
or like a youth choir or like what organization they are, but it just said a gospel choir, and I was like, cool, that gives me nothing.
Yeah. So this one, again, in Florida, we get Tampa. Again, produced by Don Misher Productions, White Cherry Entertainment. Again, sponsored by Bridgestone. A runtime of 13 minutes and 20 seconds. Okay, so this Super Bowl was referred to as the Recession Bowl due to the down like that economy. I see what you did there.
Put it in quotes.
Down
so
like the economy.
I put it in quotes because I thought that would make it clear that nobody
Yes.
said that. That was just me interjecting the lyrics of "Down"
Yeah.
by Jason Derulo or
Yes.
Jay Sean. Sorry, Jay Sean. My bad.
Jay Sean, yeah. Of 2008-2009. So those people who don't know, who might not be in America, there was a recession in the U.S. around 2008-2009. Basically, a lot of people like lost jobs.
Yeah.
A lot of people were doing financially.
It was like a
not
huge
well.
economic collapse. Like
Yep.
the banks almost all went under.
Right. Like, the housing market was, like, horrendous.
Crash.
Yep.
The auto industry had to get bailed out. Like, it was basically, like, every major group had to be bailed out.
Right.
And people were, like, especially, like, for us in the Detroit area, a lot of people's families had family members laid off. Because the auto industry was suffering a lot. So I feel like it was very, like, we talked about it at school. Like, I remember having conversations, like, in my history class, like, in classes, we talked about it. Like, it's one of, I would say, the first instances that I, like, was aware of some, like, because we talked about, like, 9/11. Like, I remember it happening and kind of, like, being aware of it occurring, but not really being involved in those discussions. But, like, as a middle, like, I think I was in 8th grade, so it would have been, like, 14, to be, like, consciously aware of what was going on and, like, have an opinion, right? Like, being aware of that in the conversation.
Right. Yeah. So due to having that recession, less Super Bowl parties. Again, people didn't really have the money or things to be able to host those events. 200 less sports journalists covering the event. Cheaper prices for tickets. And a specific fact to Detroit is that all the big 3 car companies did not advertise due to business struggles.
Yeah.
It's extremely expensive to advertise for the Super Bowl. I've looked it up before, and, like, the slot for commercials is insane.
And an obscene amount of money.
Even for, like, a 30-second spot, it's insane. So this one was the 3rd most watched Super Bowl in history.
Because people had nothing else to do.
Honestly, that makes sense, though, because... especially, too, I feel like in more difficult times, people kind of turn to, like, those things that can bring you, like, some sense. I remember...
The Masked Singer.
Yeah, that was during the pandemic, but I remember listening to an episode of Hot Ones, which is a YouTube show for people who don't know, and Alton Brown, who's, like, a food host, stuff like that. He was on it, and he kind of talked about how the food, like, show boom came after 9/11 because a lot of people just wanted, like, a comfort show, something they could watch that wasn't going to be, like, violent or, like, you know, and so that kind of led to this boom of, like, these stir and stand, like, like cooking shows.
Right.
And so I think similarly with, like, sports, a lot of people just, it's something you can watch that's just kind of like
kind of takes your mind off of troubles. That's like we had so during, like, 2020 peak COVID, we were both living with our parents. I think I was there for, like, a month or two, just when we were in, like, full lockdown. I did not want to live by myself. But we had, the only day of the week I knew it was when it was Masked Singer Day. Because I think it was Tuesdays or Thursdays. One of those 2 days.
Yeah, one of the two. I'm not sure.
But we watched it weekly, and that was, like, because, like, the investigative work. We're like, who's under that mask?
Right.
And Hannah somehow knew Tony Hawk from a stance.
From that game, that video
From a
game.
Tony Hawk game. You somehow clocked his stance. I couldn't believe it. That is one of the most ridiculous detective work I've ever seen anyone ever. A feat that I think is unchallenged. Truly.
Honestly, that's probably the most impressed I've ever been with myself. Not graduating college, not any of this stuff.
Not twice. Graduations. Yeah, you graduated twice from college.
And then not even doing a job with either of those.
I mean, it's useful. You know, still an accomplishment.
Yeah. But anyways, back to the show. So all the songs performed had at least one verse removed to fit the performances into the intended 12-minute time slot, which it did go over 12 minutes.
Yeah, and they comment on it, too, in the show, which I love.
And they did 4 songs total.
Yeah. Bruce Springsteen is crazy.
Dude, man was, like, he was all over the place.
He was, I mean, like, look, he's iconic. Like, our mom loves Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
I mean, both our parents like him, but, like, we grew up on a lot of his music. But I feel like I never really saw him perform live. You know, you just kind of hear it. The back-to-back, him and Clarence standing back-to-back.
Yeah.
Like, the shadow figure I thought was great. And then he throws the guitar. And then the boss is telling me to step back from the guac. You know, set down your chips.
At one point, he slides, and I said, you know, the cameraman hated to see Bruce's crotch coming at him.
Do you remember the crotch cam?
Yes.
Like, yeah, crotch cam.
Like,
it was like an early meme. Was crotch cam.
But he like slid and like usually they slide, but he went into the cameraman.
He went into the camera. Yeah, he was in there. He climbed up on the piano.
Yeah.
He, like, their band, like, they've been playing together forever.
A really long time. Yes.
So you can tell that they have, like, great stage presence, like, all of them together collectively.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you say?
Well,
like, what can you say?
I can say that I was surprised how much I enjoyed this. Not
Is this, you still don't remember these shows?
I still don't remember. Nope,
Okay.
I will let you know when I do.
I remember this show, because I remember Mom and Dad were very excited about Bruce Springsteen performing. I remember that.
I think I thought I would enjoy it because for the most part, I enjoy Bruce Springsteen's music. But it was so much more entertaining than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, it's fun. Like, so they're having a great time.
Yeah, they performed 10th Avenue Freeze Out, Born to Run, Working on a Dream, and then end with Glory Days. And I always forget. I always forget how much I love Glory Days until I hear it.
Glory Days. It's a great song.
It's a great song. Again, Bruce Springsteen is an artist we kind of grew up with because my mom loved him growing up.
Hannah. I sent Hannah this meme a while ago, but it's a guy pretending to do Bruce Springsteen's Christmas song. Mm-hmm. But good, everybody over there, but good. It's not many, not many people in trouble. Yeah, like he's just like been a very staple musician.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm surprised for this. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Oh no, go ahead. You go.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I was just saying, like, he's wearing a vest. Like, he's got a vest on. Like, they're all kind of in formal wear, which I thought was fun.
Yeah.
There's a part where Bruce goes towards the audience, and there's a security man who looks like he's fighting for his life, trying to hold people back. Like, it made me so fun. And I made a note that I distinctly remember crotch cam, where he slid into the crotch first into the cameraman and, like, hits the camera. And I said this would have been a peak TikTok material if this had come out when TikTok was big. Like, this would have been all over
It would have been
TikTok.
all over, like, Instagram Reels. And
it would have been a big thing. And then I liked that Clarence had a black sparkly cape and hat for the Born to Run segment. And that Bruce had a little platform where the choir came out. I also liked that they made comments about how they were going to go over 12 minutes and they had a ref come out, like, on stage. Yeah, I said it was fun. I believe they were all playing live. Like, even if the instruments weren't live, like, I believe they were all, like, and they all, like, sing back up. A lot of the artists do. Yeah. And just solid fun time.
I was surprised where this one ended up on my list.
Okay.
It ended up pretty average, but I was surprised about the fact that it ended up one spot above Tom Petty.
Oh. Interesting.
Just for the sheer, I think because these performances were back to back.
Yeah.
And I watched them right back to back. I think for sheer entertainment and maybe a sheer unexpectedness.
Yeah.
I put this one as number 17, which is one above Tom Petty.
Okay. I'm surprised you have it that
I
low.
am surprised too, and do I stand by it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
This is in my top 7.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why I was saying, like, I think you're wrong. This isn't my top 7.
Oh, so I think have it above Tom Petty, too.
I think this is genuinely, like, this one I knew was above Tom Petty. That's, like, where I didn't let my bias, I couldn't, like, there's no bias with that. It's just a better performance.
See, I wonder if I'm trying to, like, I felt like some of these artists, I was like, is it actually good, or is it just me?
I'll just tell you this. In a lot of the upcoming notes, a lot of these artists use this show for reference. Like, they use this as an influence for their shows.
I did see that. Yeah.
So I'm just saying.
That might be one where, like, I maybe would go back and change that one.
I think you're wrong. This was a solid top 7, and I kind of knew that while I was watching it. I was like, I feel like this is up there. So
yeah.
All right. Well.
Okay.
We all make mistakes. You know.
It's okay.
Maybe me ranking a country show as number 16. Maybe that's a mistake, but you know.
What are you gonna do?
Who knows? All right. Anyway, we finally have reached the end of the Dad Rock era. The NFL we got one more show, and then the NFL was like, what if we went back to pop music? I think it's been long enough. I think we've recovered from the trauma of seeing one exposed breast from a woman. I think we can, and again, here's the other thing. We have had no woman-led main act this entire time, too. It's all been men. There's been women involved, like, in the bands, but not the main act, which I'm like, we love that. But anyway, 2010, we get The Who, the last of our rock bands. This show takes place in Miami Gardens, Florida. It was produced by White Cherry Entertainment and sponsored again by Bridgestone. The runtime is 12 minutes and 10 seconds. And this, at the time, was the most watched Super Bowl beating out MASH's finale as the most watched program in American television history. So this will keep recurring where a show is the most watched and then gets beat by next year's. And this was the first time since the 2000 Super Bowl show, which was the Disney one featuring Phil Collins and Christina Aguilera, that there were no crowd of fans surrounding the halftime stage. So we had, from 2001 to 2009, there was a crowd surrounding the stage. This is the first year without that. The Who had not released new music since 2006 and had actually performed their farewell tour in 1982. They were the last legacy rock band to perform at the Super Bowl, as a pop act would be chosen the following year and years in parentheses, as they would primarily swap to being pop acts into the future. Just to say some things to note, the frontman Roger Daltrey had a precancerous growth removed from his vocal cords in 2009, which affected his singing. The set list for the show was specifically recorded for the game Rock Band, where people were able to download the set of songs performed after the broadcast and play on Rock Band, which I thought was a relevant fun fact. I don't think we got that, as we had Rock Band. I have no memory of getting the Who songs, but you could have. Digital sales for the band went up 400% after the show, but the show itself was received as lukewarm, as the age of the band was apparent in their show. That was just something someone had said. I'm not saying that, for me. Viewership dropped 4% from the game during the set. So instead of how, for a lot of the halftime shows, the number of viewers increases, this year it actually decreased during their set. And this Super Bowl halftime show was nominated for an Emmy for Outstanding Production Design for a Variety or Reality Series.
Yeah.
So they performed 5 songs. And I'm going to be honest, this is my least amount of notes is for this show.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is that outside of CSI shows, I generally do not listen to The Who. They're not a band that I listen to.
Yeah.
I love Won't Get Fooled Again, and clearly we love that. We did a whole episode dedicated to CSI Miami, so spent a lot of time listening to that song. But I also, something I noted was that I don't really even remember the show. I don't have a memory of watching it. They have a circular stage with light spokes coming out of it. No crowd around the stage. They're in black and white suits, red pattern flag. There's a lot of lights. It's a very light technical show.
Yeah.
But I noticed that it felt a lot less exciting than a lot of the previous shows.
Yeah, and I mean,
is something I said.
You definitely can see, if you compare The Who with, Bruce Springsteen, you definitely can see their age.
Oh, yeah.
Again, Who is similar to Tom Petty, where they're, a very clean band. You can tell they've performed together for a long time. I actually listen to The Who quite a bit.
Okay. Yeah.
Just not I wouldn't say they're one of my favorite bands, but yeah. I definitely regularly listen to Won't Get Fooled Again, Baba O'Reilly, Pinball Wizard, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I found it entertaining.
I thought it was entertaining, but just less exciting than some of the other rock bands.
Yeah, I would agree. Personally. I think pretty average, I would say.
So we start with Pinball Wizard.
Yeah.
Go into Baba O'Reilly. Who Are You? See Me, Feel Me, and then finally end on a classic Won't Get Fooled Again.
Yeah.
Woo! And really, it's weird because I feel like I associate the Who with the CSI shows.
I do too.
Because all of the openings for the CSI shows are all
their
Who
songs.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to add? Because there's nothing special about the show, but it's not bad. It's just kind of, run of the mill.
Yeah.
Where did you place it?
I put it at 26.
Okay. I put it at 23.
Okay.
This is kind of the section where I kind of just was putting people places and I feel like it could shift, here or there.
Yeah.
But I'm around roughly the same area.
Yeah. Okay.
We're back to pop.
Yeah, we're in 2011. And we got the Black Eyed Peas. We also get Usher, Who Will Return. We get Slash, the Dallas-Fort Worth High School Drill Teams and Dancers, and Prairie View A&M University Marching Storm.
Which is the name of their marching band, is the Marching Storm.
So this one was in Arlington, Texas. And it's produced by Ricky Kreischner, who's part of White Cherry Entertainment. Again, sponsored by Bridgestone Tires. Runtime of 12 minutes and 40 seconds. This is the first halftime show with a female co-headliner in 7 years. The NFL said, hey, maybe we've played it safe by having 7 years of artists who had hits before 1990. Time to get the youth back. It's been long enough since the last pop controversy.
That was just me.
Oh, yes.
The NFL didn't say words. That. That was just my ad-lib of what I imagined the NFL said. So just to clarify.
It was originally planned to be a country music show, which would make sense because it was in Texas, which we still technically haven't had, but then decided on the Black Eyed Peas to bring in the youth. There were audio issues during this performance. It was not well received by both audience and critics. Specifically, an ESPN poll found that 35% of respondents gave the performance an F. But again, it broke the record of the most watched program in American television history.
Okay, now do you remember this show?
No.
Okay. I was going to ask that because I remember this show very vividly for, like, I recognized it was bad while I was watching it. Like, it was rough.
You know,
it was rough. And it's not... You go first. I was going to say I have a comment, but...
Black Eyed Peas, I don't know if it's because of the kind of music they make that's very, like, dance, electronic, like, pop. I don't know if it just doesn't translate well in, like, a live setting, but I do find their performances I've seen in the past of them live to not be, like, overly that impressive.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think they were not helped. Like, I don't think the fault of the show is entirely on them as
it didn't help that the sound
artists.
Stuff was
The audio quality, I think, is the worst of any show.
It was bad.
It was so bad, specifically on Fergie. Like, her mic was all over the place. Like, sometimes it was up here, sometimes it was down here. Like, barely hear her. In the beginning, you can, like, barely hear her. She's like so quiet. Apple the App, you can barely hear him at times. And I would agree. I don't think their type of show, and especially the type of music they were making in this era, like the Time Dirty Bit, kind of a very electronically beat, like, dance heavy music, really worked in a, like, Super Bowl stadium audience.
Yeah.
Like, I think it, like, a residency type thing when you're on a smaller stage, like, maybe that would work better.
Well,
but I did like that they all came down from the roof, you know.
Yeah. And I mean,
down.
Black Eyed Peas were huge during this time period.
Absolutely.
That album was huge.
It was a big resurgence because they had, like, kind of a bigger spot in, like, the early 2000s.
They had kind of like a
Where's the Love
and
Pump It, but then they had, like, not really released anything, and Fergie had done solo stuff. So then they kind of released this album, and it was, like, revitalized, like, them as a band. And, like, the songs on this album were played nonstop for, I want to say, over a full year. Like, I heard these songs everywhere.
The album cover, the white with the faces, like, in, like, cartoon drawn almost.
Yeah. Like pixel art.
Art, yeah.
Yeah, they were huge. But, yeah, they all were wearing, like, these black, like, futuristic type outfits. Like, Fergie's got these, like, football pads, shoulder pads on. On the first verse of I Got a Feeling, Fergie's mic just, like, isn't even working.
Yeah.
There's, like, a record type stage with, like, multi-platforms. It looked like it spelled the letter B, but I couldn't really tell. The dancers have, like, light up Tron lights going on. And then I noted, like, the four of them are just kind of, like, standing on stage.
Yeah.
Like, they're just kind of there.
It was kind of weird. I mean, they do I Got a Feeling and then Boom Boom Pow.
And then Boom Boom Pow.
And they're kind of just there.
They almost ran into each other at one point.
Yeah.
Like, they really did not have their marks.
No.
The audio was struggling.
Yeah.
The intro of Sweet Child of Mine audio mix was terrible.
Yeah, it was bad.
Like, it was bad, where, like, Slash is performing with Fergie. Like, I don't know what was going on with the audio, but it was awful.
Yeah.
And it just, like, kept shifting. Like, they could not get it together. Like, the audio was all over the place.
Yeah, and then after that, they do Pump It, Let's Get It Started, and then OMG with will.i.am and Usher.
Yeah, so Usher comes down from the ceiling, and he's in all white, and the backup dancers are in all white. I thought this was the best part of the show.
Yeah.
Was the Usher bit. which honestly makes sense why they maybe brought him back later, because
he is a very entertaining performer.
Like, this was, I know when I was like reading stuff that this is the part that people felt was the best, was the Usher feature.
The part, yeah.
I thought that so Usher does a jump over will.i.am into the splits, and I was like, that's a real talent right there.
It was impressive.
That's impressive. And then we get into Red Stage Lights That Now Say Love, where we get our Where Is the Love?
Where is the love?
And where is the love?
I don't know.
I don't know. And it did not sound good.
No,
it just like sounded so bad.
Yeah, and then we get the Time Dirty Bit, and I Got a Feeling reprise.
Yeah,
just not there.
Not there.
Not there.
You know what else I remembered? Do you remember that there was a different version of Let's Get It Started?
Yeah.
Like the original version?
Yes.
I like completely blocked that out of my memory, and then I remembered that while I was watching the show, and I was like, huh.
Yeah.
It really was a different time.
It was.
I forgot that existed.
It was. Definitely interesting.
I think the Black Eyed Peas as a band, like, it works for the music they were making, but I just don't feel like they were right for this, or at least the type of show they were putting on didn't work for this format. Because, like, arguably, like, for a while, and for a big portion of it, like, the NFL picks a pop act that is big in the moment. Like, they like to pick people who are, like, having some type of a resurgence.
Like, have the top hits. Yeah.
Yeah, or have the top hits. Black Eyed Peas were at the top. Like, they had so many, like, Billboard hits, especially from this new one, and a resurgence, and so they were very big artists. I just don't think it worked.
Yeah, and I think too there's this happens, at least for me it happens in a future show as well, but like if one of your featured artists who's on one song is like the best part of the performance, like
maybe that's a problem.
Yeah, it makes me a little bit like, oh, okay, like maybe you shouldn't have been the headline.
Yeah, maybe if those the main act got into formation, you know, the guest acts wouldn't be seen as better than the main act.
Yeah.
Wonder will we see that again.
We'll see. But yeah, I think again, just not good.
It's just rough. It's rough. It's a audio issues aside, it's still just a rough show.
Yeah, I put it as number 31.
Oh, I put this as 33.
Yeah, it's just bad.
Yeah, it was rough.
Not good.
It's a rough show, and I can't, like, I wouldn't want to watch this. No. No, I would. I remember
after watching this, I will never watch it again.
Yeah, it was rough. It's rough.
Can tell you that.
All right. And now, 2012, we get to another Michigan performer with Madonna. Pop icon Madonna was releasing a new album at this time. I don't know why I put... Oh, yeah, okay. So Madonna's featured artists include LMFAO. If you forgot about them, they were big at this time. Cirque du Soleil, Nicki Minaj, MIA, CeeLo Green, Andy Lewis, who is a slackliner, and we'll get to that later.
Slackline.
And then Avon Center Grove Fishers and Franklin Center High School's drumline. So she brought in. I think it's also fun when artists bring in like high school, like youth, like artists, not just like college level, because it's fun to have like local. Yeah, right. So they brought in their high school drum lines to perform. They also had the Southern University Dancing Dolls and a 200-person choir that was composed of locals to Indianapolis. And the show did take place in Indianapolis, Indiana, another northern state getting a Super Bowl. Yeah. Which rarely happens. Because of the frigid temperatures and the urban decay crime sprees going on there. So this was again produced by Ricky Kirshner and sponsored by Bridgestone again, with a runtime of 12 minutes and 45 seconds. So Madonna was the first solo female headliner since Diana Ross in 1996, which isn't that great. We love that. It also, again, set the record for the most halftime viewers of a Super Bowl halftime show, 114 million, which beat Michael Jackson's record, and which was higher than the viewership of the game. And then I just put in parentheses that my thoughts are a lot of people who don't watch football specifically turned in for her performance because it's Madonna, and Madonna's big with our mom age, like middle-aged women love Madonna. People, you know. It is the first Super Bowl with legal online streaming. Just to put it in perspective where we're at, is the first year with legal streaming, because there was a lot of illegal streaming before this, but NFL.com and NBCSports.com both streamed the game. made a note that there is a humongous Wikipedia page for this halftime show due to it being such a large spectacle and production. So I just tried to highlight some of the bigger things that I thought were interesting, but it was a huge page. Madonna was asked in both 1999 and 2001 to perform the Super Bowl halftime show, but she had to cancel both of them due to conflicts. At this time, she was releasing a new album. It was called MDNA, which also I performed a dance number to that. So I'm now at 2 Super Bowl halftime show performers that I did a dance recital to of their songs. Just a fun fact. And releasing the film W.E. around the time that the show was airing. So she was like in pop culture media at the time. She used her longtime choreographer Jamie King as the music director of the show, in production with the group Moment Factory, who had worked on the Las Vegas residencies of Celine Dion and other large-scale light and multimedia shows. This particular halftime shows used many costumes. They were designed by Riccardo Tisci Gavinsky. I know I'm butchering these fashion. It shows how much Miu Miu, Prada, Givenchy, whatever. One of the first instances of costume changes throughout a halftime show. So she had like a notable costume change. The themes were mainly in the form of like Egyptian, Roman Empire, and gladiator themes, kind of were prevalent in the costuming and the structure of the show. The rehearsals were grueling, with concerns if everything could be accomplished within the time limit. There was a planned bit with 100 drummers descending from the ceiling that had to be cut due to concerns about weight, and considering there was that whole incident where a bungee jumper died due to ceiling constraints, they were like, we can't do it, so they had to cut that out. It was the first use of project mapping on a large scale, and so I looked it up because I didn't know what project mapping was, but it is when you turn an object into a surface for video projection, so it's the first time this was used on a large scale. The show was considered a hit with positive receptions from both critics and audiences. Madonna was the most tweeted subject on Twitter at the time. And it had a large impact on the sport known as slacklining. And so Andy Lewis was a slackliner who performed during the show. And it led to a large amount of people buying and participating in slacklining. And so I wrote a note in parentheses that it's actually very true now that I think about it, as we were slacklining at cross-country practice, and honestly don't think I've seen someone do it since then in like 10 years.
True.
But we were, around this time, we were doing slacklining. Like, somebody brought it in and we were trying it out. So, thanks, Andy Lewis and Madonna. So now we get to one minor controversy. The singer MIA flipped off a camera during her performance during a verse where she would say shit in the song, but instead of saying shit, she flipped off the camera, which led to both the NFL apologizing for being unable to blur the image and a fine of $16.6 million on her for the foul. Madonna made a statement that she was not aware that would happen and was disappointed. So that was all that came out of that. And as you can see, it really wasn't that big of a deal.
I thought it was kind of funny.
She flipped off the camera, got fined, and it was like, okay.
Yeah.
And nobody freaked out. Wow. Yeah. Almost like we couldn't do that in 2004. Proper response, you know? But here we are. But anyway, so we get to Madonna and guests, and Madonna, we start with Vogue, which is a huge hit, but she is being pulled in a full man chariot to Vogue. Like, she's being carted out by just tons of men. Like, it is a spectacle. Like, it is an entrance.
Yeah, and like the first thing I noticed was like the costumes, and I was like, wow, this is like, compared to some of the previous shows, especially because we had a lot of these like older guy rock groups, the costumes like really stood out to me.
Yeah, and she's wearing like this huge cape. The theme dancers. I made a comment that I am not sure she's singing live at this specific point. I think she's singing for parts of the show, but I didn't necessarily think
it's hard
this
to tell.
Part. I thought it was a really good use of the space, like using the space of the field to the stage, because it's like a long stage with stairs, black and cold colors. And then like Madonna's up there in her 50s doing stunts I did in acrobatics when I was 12, like doing cartwheels on people, doing flips, like she's singing while doing this, and I'm like, Madonna can get it. Like, again, she's out there performing, she's out there giving, which I'm like, good for her, you know, just doing that yoga, doing that Pilates, staying active. But then, we get to Music is the next song. With the combined party rock anthem and Sexy and I Know It, featuring LMFAO. I thought it was funny that she got on the shoulders of one of them. And I'm like, that's funny. I'm like, that's a good... And I thought it was, like, smart of her to use, like, acts that were big at the time, like, kind of incorporate
I thought...
big acts.
I made a note about how it's, like, cool to see someone who's considered more of, like, an 80s icon. And, like, Madonna's one of those people who I think has revitalized her career multiple times to stay relevant.
Yeah.
But I think primarily known as, like, an 80s artist kind of when she was... that's when she was big. And I think it's cool to see a lot of the current popular artists at that time blend in with Madonna. And like one of the things I loved about this whole thing, and I'm kind of getting ahead, but like every artist that came on to perform with her, it was like it suddenly transformed into their concert. Like like when LMFAO came on, they had like a boombox in the background. Like they had it felt very much like their concert. And then Nicki Minaj and MRA are on and it feels like their concert. And then like CeeLo Green comes on, it feels like his concert. Like I thought she did a really good job of
like mixing in the artists,
letting the artist shine, mixing in well with them, and just kind of like fitting it to like tailoring it to their style. I just really enjoyed that aspect of it, and I thought like the collaboration of this one really worked.
Yeah, and I thought it was smart. So the next song is the Gimme All Your Loving, which is a song that was on the new album that Nicki Minaj and MIA were on. So she brought in like artists that were going to be featured on the album, or I think the album had just released, like, and brought in those artists to perform. And like you get like a little bit of a slight outfit change behind like pom-poms, which I thought was funny. Like get like the pom-poms, but they come in and they're in red and gold. And I loved how in this YouTube video there was a delayed blur where the flip off happened. Like they just you missed it.
You missed it.
Try again. I'm like they really tried, but it was very off. It also is funny that instead of swearing, she just was like, I'm just gonna flip off the camera. I'm like why not? Also, I was like, she's running around in heeled boots.
Yeah.
And then we get CeeLo Green coming out like a conductor. He's got
like a CeeLo Green entrance.
Yeah. It is a very CeeLo Green entrance. And this must have been around when Forget You came out. I'd have to guess. And you get Open Your Heart, Express Yourself, where they perform together.
Yeah, and I think too, one of the things that I noted at this point was like, this one, compared to a lot of the other ones, feels like a lot of thought went into it production-wise. Not just the costumes but there were so many different, since like each artist coming out was like their own thing, it seemed like there were so many different elements to it. And
I think that helps that she used a longtime choreographer.
Right, like someone that she's comfortable with.
Yeah, and had been working with her since the 80s.
And it's like one of those people where you can probably get a lot more done because you don't have to spend that time like building that relationship.
And I mean, they said like, I didn't include a ton of the notes, but there were like the rehearsals were grueling. People were like exhausted. Nicki Minaj like made a comment. She was like, I've never worked so hard in my life. Like, and she's just a featured guest, like.
Right, but I think too, like. Yeah. I don't know. It was cool to see. It was cool to see that every single side artist headliner she had was not a white person.
Yeah.
Not that it's like surprising that she would do that, but like I just think it's cool to see that like she probably just picked artists that she enjoys and wanted to work with.
I mean, she's also worked with a ton of artists,
right?
Too,
and it's like when you're Madonna, you can kind of just be like, "I'm gonna ask these people," and they'll probably say yes.
Yeah, do whatever you
who's
want.
Gonna say no?
I also liked like the use of the drum line felt right, like the way they used the drum line for the part that they used them for. I thought that was like well used. Like it wasn't just like there for a prop, because there's a couple artists that I feel like they just have the marching band as like a prop and not really utilized in the show. So I appreciated that. And then we get into the final song, Like a Prayer, which, I mean, what an iconic Madonna song. And she gets like a humongous sparkly coat, and her and CeeLo are performing, and she just gets on like a platform and gets risen up like a prayer.
Yeah.
I feel like she put on a really good show. Production-wise and like performance-wise, like she was given.
Yeah, definitely. I also noted that I know JT was excited for this one because Madonna was like her idol.
Yeah. Loves Madonna.
Which I feel like
fan.
for teens, young adults in the 80s, most people
yeah.
probably would have had Madonna be their idol.
Yeah, and I think, like, Madonna is kind of artist similar to, like, Cher, who had hits. Like, I think Madonna had top hits in every day, like, 80s, 90s, and 2000s, like, early 2000s.
Yeah, and
she had hits, like, in different eras, and she had different eras of her music.
Yeah, and I think what I meant when I was talking about, like, revitalizing, like, she had her stuff in the 80s, she had her stuff in the 90s, but then she has, like, the song with, what's it, 4 minute,
with Justin Timberlake. I'm out of time and I got 4 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, and so
2000s,
I think, like,
yeah.
she found a way to make herself relevant. I think sometimes what happens with certain artists, not as much in, like, the rock genre, but, like, the pop genre, is, like, if you're not willing to change. But she changed in a way that still felt true to her.
Yeah.
I would say similar to, we talked about it with, like, Avril Lavigne.
Oh, yeah.
How she made this new music that came out. It still felt true to her, but it felt more of the time.
Right.
And so I think it's cool to see artists like that who are willing to, I don't know, to do
like,
stuff like that.
Maybe experiment isn't the right word, but like, experiment with their sound and, like, change it to fit, like, a new genre.
Yeah.
Almost.
And, like, to reach a new audience of people.
Yeah.
Because I think even if you brought up Madonna to people who are, like, currently in their, like, early, like, teens, early 20s, they would still know who she was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because
She's just,
I feel
like,
like
is a huge artist.
her name is still relevant. Yeah.
I've actually been listening to Caught Up. I don't know why I said Hung Up. Caught Up. It's, like, the song she has that covers ABBA. I don't know, that one I just started listening to again. I hadn't listened to it, but that one came out in, like, 2002 or something like that. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize this song came out that late, but it's been good. Yeah, this one's in my top 7.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait.
It's very well produced, like, just production value alone, I think stands out.
To this point, one of the best produced.
Yeah.
Maybe the best produced in terms of, like, the scope and, like,
of, like, staging of everything.
Everything, because I think there have been some that have been really good, but I think in terms of, like, all the costume changes, everything that was happening, it does feel very clean. There was no, like, like, it wasn't like Black Eyed Peas where, like, it was, like, chaos. It felt very controlled chaos.
She had, like, one little slip on the stairs and then corrected, and then we were fine.
Right.
But you know,
Impressed.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we get another powerhouse female. 2013, we get Beyonce.
I don't think you're ready for this jelly.
We're not ready for this jelly. We also get Destiny's Child and the Saint Sations, which is the 32 cheerleader troupe of the New Orleans Saints, because this Super Bowl was held at the Saints Stadium in New Orleans, Louisiana. Produced by Ricky Kirschner. I couldn't remember if there was an N or not. I was confused with the other guy. Again, we get sponsored by Pepsi, so Pepsi returns and overtakes Bridgestone.
They do. Bridgestone's out.
Bridgestone is out. A runtime of 13 minutes and 20 seconds. So this is the second most watched halftime show at the time, with 110.8 million viewers, which is behind Madonna's the previous year. Now it is the 7th highest watched show.
In current times, yes.
So this was the most tweeted moment in the history of Twitter, with 299,000 tweets per minute at the time.
It's crazy how popular Twitter used to be.
Yeah. But yeah. Alyssa said this might still be the most. We are unsure on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Hard to say.
Yeah. So, Beyonce had been criticized for lip syncing earlier that year when she did the national anthem at President Obama's second inauguration, where she sang with a pre-recorded track. She did sing live at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think she was just, like, had to clarify that she was singing live, because that was, like, I don't know if you remember that. I, like, remember this being a thing, that it was, like, a controversy that she didn't sing live. Like, she was faking it. It was like, we all know Beyonce can sing. Like,
we know she can sing. I think this is proven. This is also the first show I remember seeing live.
Okay. I was wondering, I was like, I feel like you would remember Beyonce. Like,
yeah, I do. I have a clear memory of seeing this one live.
Okay.
Not that I hadn't seen the other ones live, but this is just the first one I remember.
Remember specifically.
Yeah. So, her halftime show was well received. there was a quote from Dave Rooney, the Hollywood Reporter, who said that she steered the Super Bowl halftime show away from dad rock to embrace girl power.
I love that quote. I'm here.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave. Here for that.
And the show received 3 nominations for Emmys for Outstanding Special Class, Short Format, Live Action Entertainment Programs, Outstanding Technical Direction, Camera Work, Video Control for a Miniseries, Movie, and or Special, and Outstanding Lighting Design, directed for a Variety Special, which it did win for that. Yeah. So, we start off with Run the World Girls, which features Vince Lombardi's excellent speech voiceover. For those who don't know, Vince Lombardi is who the Super Bowl trophy, the team that wins gets the Lombardi trophy. He is the person that it is, like, I guess, named after, based after. Yeah.
Her stage is the silhouette of her twice. It's two women silhouetted in fire.
Yeah.
And she's standing in the smoke on the uprising platform. She's in a black bodysuit, colored, and then gloves and some boots. I thought I'd written leopard boots, and I'm like, she's not wearing leopard boots, but I wrote a bodysuit leotard type thing, and then I got confused. Probably she did this because of the national anthem thing, but she starts singing with no backing, for Run the World. Yeah, starts in the dark, and then I love that she's doing choreography from her music video. I recognized Crazy in Love.
Yeah.
And the love on, when she goes into Crazy in Love, I'm like, oh yeah, I've watched this music video many times. I recognize some of these moves. I thought it was pretty clear that she was live. I thought it was pretty, pretty apparent immediately. Yeah, her using the Vince Lombardi speech, I feel like, shouldn't work, but it does.
It did.
Weirdly. It shouldn't have worked, but, Beyonce is I feel like it shouldn't be a surprise at this point, modern day 2025, that Beyonce had a vision, and she's we're gonna do it,
Yeah.
There was a lot of backup dancers. I thought that worked for the show. Beyonce, I know, also in this used an all-female band.
Yeah.
I think she generally performs.
I feel like she generally has a lot of female artists
I think generally she does that.
Yeah.
Flaming guitar was a vibe. I thought it was good that she brought back the crowd, back to the stage. I thought that worked for the show. A lot of choreography. Do you remember the meme of her face?
Yes.
Okay, I was going to bring up that there was a unflattering Beyonce image meme.
I do remember that.
That was everywhere when the show came on, which I'm like, love that.
Yeah.
Love that as a meme.
I feel like, again, similar to Madonna, it felt like a lot of thought was put into the production to obviously, Beyonce is kind of that all-around performer, very good singer, but also dancer, does a lot of choreography, does a lot of movement.
Yeah.
And so again, I felt like, I'm sure she worked with a choreographer she works with a lot.
Yeah, I had forgotten. So we get into End of Time and Baby Boy, which is a song she did with Sean Paul, and I had forgotten this part of the show where she has a screen come up, and it's her dancing with images of herself almost. I thought that was really cool use of visuals for the show.
Yeah, visually it was a really cool show.
Yeah.
It's also cool, again, the further we get into these performances, the further, or the cooler it is to see where it came from, 1991.
Yeah, right.
We're getting these really high quality productions now that are winning awards for the production aspects, and rightfully so.
Oh yeah.
So it's cool to see how far it's come in that amount of time.
Yeah, and then we get a reunion.
Yeah, so we get Destiny's Child. They start out with Bootylicious.
And they fling up from the floor.
Yeah, so we get Kelly Rowland and Michelle Williams.
Yeah, so the stage and the lights all go red. They blast some sirens, and they get shot out of the floor. They're flying up. They have to kind of catch themselves. And I'm like, that would be scary. I would imagine. You have to be prepared for that to get shot up from the understage.
Right.
And they're all in black bodysuits as well.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty apparent early on. You can tell that they were grouped together. Oh, yeah. Because it feels like they get right back into sync, and they're immediately
chemistry is there.
Yeah, and like the harmonies, like it feels like no time has passed since they performed together, which I know it had been a bit since they had actually been like a group. So it was cool to see. I remember there being a lot of like talk around this one about like if they were going to perform, if she was going to bring them out. Like there was kind of a lot of like,
because they had like some light beef, you know, when Beyonce started doing solo stuff. Like there was, I remember, a lot of not important controversy, like, oh, they're fighting, you know, like Beyonce thinks she's better than, you know, the rest of them, and stuff like that. And I'm sure a lot of it was manufactured, but it was nice to like see an artist who was primarily started in a group bring back their, you know, group members to perform for part of the show. Yeah. Because, I mean, Destiny's Child was like the start of her career, so I think it's important to like reference that. Yeah. And I liked that she did do that.
Yeah, and I think it's, at least to me, it seemed like they still have a close bond. Like, you know, some people leave groups or, like, go off solo and have success, and it feels like maybe there would be some sort of, like, jealousy or resentment or whatever it may be. And I think it was just nice to see kind of, like, 3 women standing on stage performing and seemed like they were all enjoying it, enjoying each other's company. So.
Yeah, because they did 2 songs from Destiny's Child. They do Bootylicious and Independent Woman Part 1 from the Charlie's Angels movies. And then they also joined her for a rendition of Single Ladies. Put a ring on it. Again, love the choreography from that. I thought that ending with Halo made sense. Like, ending with, like, a kind of, like, a ballad song for this, like, type of show, I thought made sense. It doesn't work for every show. And we'll get to that in the future, but...
Halo was a really big song when it
was also huge.
Released, and I think she started out really, like, her more, like, fast-paced, kind of, like, higher energy songs.
Yeah.
Halo is higher energy in a different way, and I think it was cool to kind of see, like... What?
I just think of Halo to me is such a slow dance at a high school dance, because I slow danced to Halo.
Right.
At high school. Yeah. You know, at high school dance.
I think it's cool because I think some artists will do the opposite. They'll start off with kind of more of a ballad and then get into like the higher energy ones.
Yeah.
I like that she ended on something like Halo.
I thought it worked for like the formatting of this show.
Right. In the set list and the way she did it, yeah.
I also, when I think of Halo, I can't not think of that one concert where she goes up to that woman and puts the microphone in front of her.
She's like,
no.
And then she just butchers it. Yeah, that's so funny.
And I feel so bad for that girl because she clearly just not want to sing. But Beyonce's like, I give you the mic, you sing. Like,
Beyonce did her dirty there.
Yeah, I know she did, but it's fine. But yeah, no, I think this is a really well done show. Again, very solid production. Like, I think every component was well thought out and very detailed and was like visually very entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously she's a very good performer.
She's Beyonce. She's coming back. She'll be back.
Yeah, and she'll be back at a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Maybe be the star of that Super Bowl.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe controversial. Who knows?
We're gonna wait on that one.
We're gonna wait.
And we're also gonna wait for it on my list.
Yeah. Because it's on my top 7. It's on my top 7.
Okay.
I thought it had to be there. I was like, this is a great show.
It's, again, being this one is like the first one that I remember specifically. Yeah, I just
I remember this being very entertaining when I watched it live. And we're kind of getting to the era where, like, I, like, kind of remember the shows. Like, because so there's a lot of the earlier ones where I, like, remember the performance, but I couldn't, like, I wouldn't be able to be like, this happens and this happens. But these ones, we start to get to a point where I'm like, oh, yeah, this and then this and then this. And
yeah.
We made it. Next, we go to 2014, which the headliner was Bruno Mars, who was very popular at this time. I heard the song Treasure about 600 times, and I wanted to throw up. It was overplayed so much.
If there's one thing that happened with Bruno Mars's music is that it got overplayed.
Insane. Holy hell. It was bad. Like, I still am, like, astounded at how many hits Bruno Mars put out in such a short period of time. Like, he really got in there, like, threw up good music, or good pop music, and then just, like, pieced out for a while. And then did Silk Sonic, you know? And he was just like, all right.
Do you remember, like, the thing about Bruno Mars was, like, he smoked weed.
Yeah.
People lost their minds.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm like, really?
Yep. Sure did. What a time, Hannah. What a time. I can't believe a man would smoke weed. Almost all musicians did that in the past. Surprise.
But he was the one who was
But he was the one.
Nope.
But anyway, Bruno Mars featured the Red Hot Chili Peppers and the Hooligans, which was Bruno Mars's band, his backing band. The show this year took place in East Rutherford, New Jersey, which I have to imagine is where the Jets play.
Yeah.
Right? I think the Jets are in New Jersey.
Yeah, also, I think the Jets and the Giants, I'm pretty sure, play at the same stadium.
They share a stadium? Okay. That was my guess, but I don't,
I'm remembering
know.
Correctly.
I can't, It's produced by Ricky Kirshner again, and sponsored by Pepsi. So Pepsi's here for a while. Runtime was about 13 minutes. Again, this was at the time the largest audience for a halftime show with 115.3 million viewers. It's now the 4th most watched halftime show. This was a surprise to me. Bruno Mars was the youngest artist to serve as a sole headliner.
Yeah, that's
which I didn't realize, but I'm like, yeah, Bruno Mars kind of like came in there young and then just like was there. He just like kind of existed.
I think I forget how young he was when he first started. I don't know. I think of a lot of young artists who started, but he just like really blew up very quickly.
He just was like, he kind of just like appeared. It was weird. Like there was no like,
right.
This was like some like for instance, you could say Taylor Swift. Like she started as like a country artist,
right, and kind of
and like
built.
had some hits, but then she like ran. It took a while for her to be like a international, celebrity in terms of like status.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this show received 2 Emmy nominations, one for Outstanding Short Format Live Action Entertainment Program, and another for Lighting Design Direction in a Variety Special. So Bruno Mars personally invited the Red Hot Chili Peppers as a special guest. So there was some controversy on whether or not they just like were added in there, but he invited them to the show. There were disagreements between the NFL and Mars over the performance. So in terms of some of the structuring, the NFL wanted the audience to wear light up bracelets, and Bruno Mars didn't think that was necessary and was like, it's not really that important. But, what a surprise when I looked in the audience and they were wearing light up bracelets, Wonder who won that one. The show was mostly well received, but reception for the inclusion of the Red Hot Chili Peppers was mixed. There was also controversy over their instruments not being plugged in. As vocals were live, but the band was playing with a pre-recorded track since they were a guest band and they were only like featured for part of it. The NFL didn't want to risk the sound being bad, which is fair. There was also complaints about members of the band being shirtless while performing. But yeah, so we get to the show and we start with a intro that's like music strumming in the city for Pepsi. You get the big Pepsi logo. They're like strumming throughout New Jersey. We get a lot of panels in the field and a children's choir, which I did not remember the Billionaire Children's Choir, and I was jump scared by that. I was like, oh my God.
There was another children's choir for Alyssa.
I was like, where did that come? I said I must have blocked this out. I don't remember any of this beginning. Him being on the drums, I thought was fun. Like the fact that he starts on the drums, like he just was like, I want to be playing the drums. And he has a gold jacket, a really skinny tie. His hair is kind of like puffed up. He's looking very suave, very good fashion. I was reading things that some people were like, Bruno Mars was the best dressed artist at a halftime show. And I noted that he had the same stylist that Michael Jackson, Prince, and I believe it was Rick James had, who was dressing him, which I'm like, considering all those artists' fashion choices, that makes a lot of sense. I was like, that makes sense. But yeah, so we start with the Billionaires Children Choir and go right into Locked Out of Heaven.
I definitely remember this show as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I think he's definitely one of those people that I feel similar to how I feel about, like, Prince, Michael Jackson, like, even Madonna. Like, just very captivating.
Yeah, he definitely has stage
Clearly
presence.
Very talented, and, has stage presence, has, like, a good dancer. I was obsessed with his music.
I was going to say, I know you were obsessed with Bruno Mars.
Like all of his songs. Like, Just the Way You Are, that song, like, had a chokehold on me as a teenager.
Yeah. I was like, I know you loved. I've liked Bruno Mars's music, but I know you like loved Bruno Mars's music. Yeah,
yeah, and I remember like being excited for this one just because I enjoyed his music.
Yeah. One thing I noted was during the Locked Out of Heaven, I really liked like the kind of like rich vocals. Like there was like a lot of the like background singers added. Like you could tell like it was adding to that kind of like the live track as opposed to like the studio version. I thought it sounded really nice. And then we get Treasure, which a lot of shiny lights. This song got overplayed, so I have a little bit like I still get a little like I don't love this song. The camera work was a little bit shaky, I noticed during this show. It's a little all over the place.
Yeah.
And then we get to what I would consider one of Bruno Mars's best songs, Runaway Baby, which I never hear anywhere. Like, no one ever talks about this song, but it's, like, always been one of my favorites.
And I don't think it had as much, like, commercial success. Like, I don't remember hearing this one on the radio as much as some of his other ones.
Yeah. The song's a great running song if you need a good tempo running song.
Yeah.
It's on, like, all my
I would agree. I think it's definitely one of what I would consider one of his better songs, for sure.
And it's, like, it's a super fun, like, it's fast-paced. I think it works well for, like, a live show. And the, like, black and white shadow effect, like, the silhouette. I love a good silhouette shot. Even if it's overused, I feel like it always looks very visually, like, captivating. So I'm never mad when somebody does, like, a silhouette type shot. So they did some of that. And then we go into Give It Away, featuring the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which I don't really feel like this fits at all in this type of show. I like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like, I didn't need them to be there.
No.
You know?
I think my thought on it is that, yes, I don't know that it specifically fits, but I think the fact that, like, Bruno Mars invited them, the fact that he wanted to perform with them, and, like, you could tell he was enjoying himself.
Yeah.
I feel like someone performing with a specific act that, like, they probably look up to, I think it's cool.
I think it is, but, like, when you said, like, when you compare this with, like, Madonna,
who
brought an artist,
it definitely doesn't fit as well as some of the other ones.
Like, I just felt like it kind of, like, shifted weird. It was just, like, not, like, formatted right. Like, maybe they needed to be in a different part of the show and not, like, right before the end. I don't know. It just felt like it was, like, not cohesive.
Yeah.
For that part.
Yeah,
I noticed I really made a couple comments that I felt like the camera work like was not very good. Like it I thought we improved on that, and
I thought it was like in my head I was like maybe because there was so much movement, but I was like Beyonce and Madonna had a ton and it was fine. So I'm not sure if it was just that specific crew or whatever.
But yeah. Then we get to the last song with a shout out to the troops, Into Just the Way You Are.
This song. It was like my most listened to iTunes song.
I know.
When it came out.
Loved this song. I heard it a lot. This one, I think, holds up better for me than some of the other overplayed songs.
Yeah.
Like, I can listen to it. Because I feel like Grenade, I have a hard time listening to, like, Grenade or, like, what's the Lazy song?
Lazy Song.
Some of those, I'm like, eh.
Well, and that one, I remember the Lazy Song, like, the music video got, like, huge.
Yeah.
And, like, I never was a fan of it, but people were insane for it.
People loved it. But, you know, like, I felt like it was fun. I feel like it was, like, a average show for me, you know? I enjoyed portions of it, but, like, again, Bruno Mars is, like, never been a favorite artist of mine, you know?
Yeah.
But it was enjoyable. I put this one at number 20. I thought it was a solid middle-of-the-pack show for me.
I put it at 11. I enjoyed it. I think I just a bit nostalgia for my love for Bruno Mars.
Yeah, which is fair.
Yeah.
This, like, there's, like, the portion between, like, 12 to, like, 20 something. I just, like, I was like, they gotta go somewhere. And I kept moving around a bit. I was like, maybe it should go here or here. And I didn't really know where to put it. But, you know, it's where it ended up. But yeah.
We would like to thank Joseph McDade for our intro music. He provides free music available for all kinds of creative use. The song that we used is called Sunrise Expedition, and you can find it and his other music on his website, josephmcdade.com. If you would like to reach us, you can email us at r3podcasts@gmail.com. That's R3, PODCASTS @gmail.com. or you can find us on Instagram by searching Research Rank Repeat.
Every little thing that you say